Hey, KINE 1P93 students, Ian Gordon here from the Brock University Library. I'm recording the library seminar. I'm a teaching and learning librarian at Brock University Library. I can help you. Hopefully this particular seminar and the PowerPoint slides will help you to be more informed of choices you have and to be better searchers. Here's the agenda. I'm going to look at top 10 resources you should know about. We'll talk about scholarly resources as books, databases, articles. Then at the end, I'll show you where, how, and when to get help. The library research guides are great. Child and Youth Studies guide are really great. And at any time on any one of our pages, you can get help by emailing libhelp@brocku.ca, clicking on the research support page, or the chat service, which is here. It's kind of a neat service. We'll talk more about it as well. The Kinesiology Library Research Guide is here, and on this slide, I have the slides that I'm using here and this video, so you'll find it either way. On the Kinesiology Library Research Guide, we can talk about articles on the tab, books, gray literature, data, borrowing from other libraries, and additional course guides that may help. So it's a one-stop shop. Here's your topic for your essay. You have to create it using some sort of structure that's given here. So it looks like a great assignment. Part of this assignment will be to find at least 4 peer-reviewed academic sources, articles that aren't newspapers or magazines. Additional resources maybe help you to provide context and get you started. Because picking the right particular topic, you should test, try, push, and pull to see if it works for you, and you can use it or put your own turn on it as well. 4 peer-reviewed academic scholarly articles, you'll be overwhelmed with 100. And it usually looks like you'll probably find 125 articles. You'll look at 30 of them, you'll decide 15 look interesting, and then you'll grab the 4 that you think are best, cite them in your paper, and include them in your references as well. This is the topic that I'm going to use as this particular assignment. Just to use an example, risky play. Hopefully you've heard about this before. Who benefits more, boys or girls? So that's my research title. Every research topic has to have a question, and I had 2 questions. What can be understood about children's engagement with the world in an early childhood environment that is conducive to and supportive of risky play? I thought it a different way. Is there a gender basis for who benefits more from risky play as a form of movement education? So crafting a title for your paper, but more importantly, a topic or a research question you intend to explore. And every time you go to a database, you look at an article, does it fit into this folio? Are you answering that particular research question? And do these articles help support and provide scaffolding for buckets that you need to fill on methodology, on definitions, on terms, or just conversation? It's a pretty short essay. You'll find at least 4 articles for sure using this, your example. Let's move through these. So top 10 resources you should know about. Zotero Bib, which is a citation management. Zotero is a citation management software tool. Omni is the database to help find books and articles in our library. How to borrow materials from other libraries, whether they be books or to get articles that we do not own. The research guides I kind of talked about for KINE and CHIS. You should really know how to use and exploit Google Scholar, Google Books, advanced Google searching, and we'll talk about where, when, and how to get help and how to book a consultation if that works for you. We don't want you looking like this, either starting and knowing where to go, or your professor or your seminar leader or colleagues who are great people go there, or you don't know or never used that before, or you're just kind of struggling. Reach out for help because we can help you get started sooner than later rather than cramming to put this together using appropriate resources. Risky play, who benefits more, boys or girls? So I searched the internet. I found this site supporting young children's risky play, and I may or may not use it. It's not a scholarly source, but here's a quote I pulled from it. And then if you ever quote something or you ever look at something, take an idea, someone's creative work, you should always cite it. And there's a citation at the bottom. Don't be caught for plagiarization. If in doubt, cite. If in doubt, cite. Always cite resources, and you should capture these sources using the tools that I'll show you along the way so that you have them in a folio on your computer, on your laptop, or on your phone that you can always go back and consult as well. I found this news article. It was entitled, "Have You Considered the Benefits of Risky Play?" I found a quote that worked, and then again I cited it. It is a newspaper, but it gives you context. It's interesting. News kind of gives you a quote, a statistic. It gives you helps to color a scholarly research paper. Again, not required for this particular assignment, but it's interesting. I found a thesis done in 2020 called Reconsidering Risky Play in Canadian Early Childhood Context. I looked at it, I pulled a quote from it, and then I cited it as well. It kind of gave me context to help me build structure, to know what research question I'm asking and how I'm going to form or scaffold this essay. I found a scholarly peer-reviewed article, and again, that's the essence of the 4 papers that you need to find. I read it. Yes, you got to read the papers. I found a quote that helped define what it is, and then I cited it in my bibliography at the end. I use Zotero Bib, so I took the DOI, or the Digital Object Identifier. Usually always starts with 10. I put it in Zotero Bib, which is a free and open source. I clicked on APA at the bottom, and I cited it, and the citation looks pretty good. I cut and pasted it, put it in my essay. I look for handbooks, encyclopedias, reference materials for definitions or context. Here's a particular Routledge International Handbook of Therapeutic Play and Play Therapy. I found chapter 31 an article. I downloaded it. I read the article and I highlighted this definition, put it into my essay. I cited it using APA format. Then I put this reference at the bottom of it as well. You may not use it, but at least it's there, sitting there for you to use in case you want to use it as part of your paper. I use Google Books. If you haven't used it, I look for a word and a phrase, a limited preview in books, just to see what books are out there on my particular topic. And I found a number of them that were here as well. I explored the content that was given to me in Google Books, kind of give me a better understanding of how this works. I used Google Scholar, and I looked at risky play with quotation marks to pick up the phrase risky beside the word play. And I put in the word gender with an asterisk or shift 8 at the end. It picks up words with variant spellings like genders or gender hyphenated words, and found these articles that were listed. And if you search through these citations using the Brock proxy server, which we'll show you in a minute, on the right-hand side gives you resources that you can quickly find the citation using our library. So we match Google Scholar's holdings with our contents as well. We usually have most of it. If you've never done advanced searching, Google searching is pretty easy, but advanced Google searching, I would suggest this. Looking at all these words, I put the word gender in, a phrase, risky play, but then at the bottom I said file type, PDF, most scholarly reports, academic articles that are open in the internet, are PDF formatted, and terms appearing. I look for these words in the title of every entry and clicked on advanced search. And I found a number of things that were interesting. It can help me explore, find things I couldn't have found any other way. It harvests research, usually in an open format that you can find and use. And I use Zotero. So here's my Zotero account. I created a file on the left by KINE 1P93. And every time I found something, I put the ISBN or the DOI into this particular folio that I have. And for every entry, I didn't put it in, the software did it for me. It created a citation for me. So it tracks what I've found so far. So every time I found something, whether I use it in my final paper, it's there for me to use at any particular time. So 10 things you should know about scholarly books we're looking at. Let's look at those as now. So books in our library are usually found using Omni, which is on our front page of our library. Omni, if you click on advanced search, it allows you to search for books, but there's a page in the kinesiology guide, not only for welcome and gray literature data and articles, but one for books and borrow from other libraries. So you're not limited to our library, but resources in other Ontario academic libraries, which we get for you free of charge, then bring them back. Usually in 2 or 3 days they come. So Omni is where we find most things. Google Books we'll talk about. WorldCat answers the question, what books have ever been produced on my topic around the world, irrespective of whether they're in the Brock Library. So here's that advanced feature of Google Books. On the top, interlibrary loan helps you to get materials from the library. And when you search using Omni, you click on Brock Library, so that's our library as opposed to Brock Library and other libraries to see what's out there. You usually have the title of a book or title of something, so I'm going to put in the word risky beside the word play, an asterisk in quotation marks. And I look at, and I want to find the words gender or female or girl or girls. So I use the truncation and the phrasing. And on the right-hand side, I look for books or ebooks. And I see what out there. I found about 30 or 40 books. I looked at them, Some were good, some weren't good. I found this book, which looked really great. It's an open access available book. It tells you the link. It gives you how to do a citation, export it, do all those sorts of things. But if you click on show more at the bottom, this is the metadata that comes with this book. So this book is described by 10 or 12 subjects. So you can either find other books like it. But when you're searching through Omni for books, you're looking at descriptions, tables of contents, and every book has at least one. This one has about 5 or 6 ISBN numbers, which is like a DOI or social insurance number for that particular book. I put one of those in ZeteroBib, and I clicked on Cite and asked for APA citation. There's over 10,000 citation styles, and it produces a citation. Looks pretty good. Sometimes you have to adjust it, but I can cut and paste that, put that in my essay. Google Books is great. I click on Limited Preview in Books, and you can search for individual titles or words. I found that book that I was looking for, and they may give you some of the content. For a print book we have in our library or a book we don't have in our library, it kind of gives you a sense of what's out there. So here's chapter 1, which was free, and I read through it. I can certainly quote from it. I can use it. And then I put that ISBN number in ZeteroBib and captures a citation for this as well. Similarly, as I said, ZeteroBib works well, but I put it in Zetero. So I added it as a folio, and I put this particular book in my collection. So I'm adding this and keeping a record of what I found. Way being useful, not useful. So there's lots of books that you can find out. You'll be overwhelmed by the amount of books. There's handbooks, there's non-scholarly books, there's scholarly books, there's edited books which have individual papers. So there's a smattering of books. Books aren't what you're using for this particular assignment, but they give you context. You may find an article in the book, like a handbook. They're excellent. They provide context and be more informed of the topic that you're actually at. This is an interesting book, Meaningful Physical Education, edited by, famous professors. So not only do we have scholarly research and books from all over the world in our collection, we have books by Brock professors as well. So there we go. Books are an excellent starting point. That's not the essence of this exercise. But let's look at databases, scholarly resources and databases. There's lots of databases in the Kinesiology Research Guide. There's a tab for articles, and it gives you some context. It shows you all the articles. These are the databases that we suggest. Wouldn't it be nice if we had one database? You could find everything you needed. You didn't have to use anything else. And Omni kind of pretends to be that, but it doesn't work well for finding articles. So there's 5 or 6 articles here, which is the best starting point that you could use. You could use one. You can use all these sorts of things. We'll go through that. The Chiz guide has a number of best top 5 subject databases. None of them are duplicated in the Kinesiology guide. So depending on where you're coming from, what your research topic is, you may use databases from each particular discipline or databases that cover both disciplines. It's up to you. Only you know when you're finding your resources, how to use the databases effectively, and whether you're comfortable in getting enough information. Here's all the databases that I use. The green ones are open databases, meaning they're databases that you can search in the open internet. They don't have to use the Brock proxy servers, meaning you don't have to log in to use. And they're sometimes different because they harvest differently and they provide access to literature. The ones in black are ones we pay for. They're part of the library. So when you connect through the library to them, it'll ask you for your proxy access, your letters, numbers, and your username and password. But they work no differently on campus or when you move through the proxy server off campus. Lots of them. You may never have heard of some of these, but some of them are really important. Again, would it be nice if you had one database? I would suggest you should try these sorts of things. And on the second line, you should use Google Scholar, Advanced Google Search, and Google Books. We've kind of shown you that. But on the bottom are the databases that you may want to use for this assignment. Google Scholar, SLIT, Semantic Scholar, BASE, Web of Science Complete, which includes Web of Science Core Collection. So Web of Science Core Collection is a source. But you may have an education focus, a psychology focus, a medicine or health sciences, or a sports focus. There's no one way and one way to search as well. But this is what I would suggest. So let's look for articles now using the databases that we looked at, knowing that we've done some searching, we have some context, we've actually identified some resources, and we know what databases we may want to search. Here's that kinesiology guide. I suggest you find out and identify what you mean by scholarly peer-reviewed articles. So you have to find 4, at least 4. What is a scholarly peer-reviewed article? Also, there may be news articles that are listed here. So there's a number of databases, and there's a number of tutorials. Here's the URL for that. Review these particular guides as part of your assignment and as part of a foundations course that you've been taking. So here's the articles, news articles and databases. Here's my research title, my topic, and the databases that I suggest: Web of Science Complete and Google Scholar, which is I'm going to study. But there's other databases I could search as well, from gender studies, education, sports, psychology, and open databases that I could search. Only you know what you're looking for, how to search each individual database separately, grab the citations, load them into Zotero, or just keep track of them as you move. Here you go. So there's the database. Let's try Google Scholar first. When you access Google Scholar, go to the main library page or the databases page and use the Brock proxy server. Because you can see here under search, Brock Digital Repository, databases, Google Scholar is there. So click on that because it automatically moves you through the proxy so the database knows that you're at or off campus connected with Brock University. I put the word risky play as a phrase and gender with an asterisk to pick up pluralizations. And on the right-hand side, it matches our holdings. Now, sometimes the holdings don't work. Sometimes as the bottom entry, they're not there. So we may have it, and it doesn't give you the entry, or it may give you the wrong entry, but 9 times out of 10, it usually takes you to the right entry as well. If you look at the first entry, early childhood education and care practitioners' perceptions of a child's risky play, looks pretty good. Google Scholar is a pretty blunt instrument, but if you look on it, you can click on the Save button, and it puts it into a profile you can create with your Gmail account. You can cite the article, which works pretty good, so it produces a Zotero bib-like citation. And this article has been cited in Google Scholar by 108 other scholarly papers. So it gives a sense of how important this is as well. So you can browse through these things, grab one or two, inform your search strategy. It's a pretty blunt instrument, but Google Scholar is a good first start. You may find all 4 articles using Google Scholar. I would suggest you use the other databases, but it's a good start. Let's go back to our kinesiology guide for articles, and there's databases at the bottom. Let's try Web of Science Core Collection or Web of Science Complete. Web of Science Complete includes its Medline, which is a health sciences medicine database, which is huge. So Web of Science Core Collection is a database is part of the complete collection. So I would suggest, unless you don't want anything to do with health or medicine, search Web of Science Complete. Here's Web of Science Complete. And so when you select it and you move into it, it includes a number of other databases. So that's good. Select them all. And it gives you a blank instrument or a blank form to search. Whereas Google Scholar kind of gave you one search engine. Every database has a different search engine format. You got to think like the database. So if you're searching psychology, you got to think like a psychologist. If you're searching medicine, think like a health sciences person. And Web of Science Complete includes the Medline database. You have to think interdisciplinary. So it's a great start because it has core journal articles from all areas of science, social sciences, and the humanities as well. It gives you an example. So here's my title, my topic, and I've picked 3 concepts that I'm interested in, and you should do the same thing as well. Risky play is really important to me. I kind of think that's what I've got. Children is my population or what I'm looking at, and gender is the other issue. I want to connect the 2 together. So I've got 3 concepts. You may have 4 or 5. You may have 2. You decide what are your search concepts. Another way to look at it is in this diagram. So you're looking for all the articles on risky play that deal with children and gender. So if you combine those 3 concepts, you have 3 areas of research that are coming together. But you may also want to search for risky play as it deals with gender as it deals with children, which is huge, or children as they deal with risky play. So let's kind of develop this format. And for every database, for every discipline, the language is different, the context is differently, but the search process, it can be repeated. So I've got risky play, children, and gender. So I went through my books, my articles I found, my seed articles, and I looked up phrases like risky play with quotation marks, or I used truncation, like in the word gender, that Shift 8 picks up words with variant titles. So for risky play, I can look up risky play, or free play, or risk-taking play, or unstructured play. Many different ways that this was framed. No one word. It's like teenager, adolescent, or high school student. What words describe this concept? And sometimes English isn't perfect. Actually, it gets in the way. But we have to use those sorts of things to not get too many articles, but not to get too few. The second concept was children, and if I type child with shift 8 asterisk, I pick up child, children, children hyphenated words, all those words. And the third concept was gender. So girl, girls, boy, or boy hyphenated, gender, female or male. But there's other words at the bottom I kind of dripped through. They were interesting, so I recorded them and wrote them down in my journal. Pedagogy, behavior, spelled 2 different ways. Movement, this is what this course is all about. Education, parenting is a huge part of risky play. Benefits, it was in my thesis statement title, and schools or education was important as well. So it's kind of like setting myself up to be successful. You should do the same. I go back into Web of Science and I put in the topic, risky play or free play. I put in the words. So I or my keywords, my phrases, or similar concepts. And when I clicked on search, I found 8,192 results. Too many, too few, or just right? Probably too many. So the nice thing about a structured database, whether it be psychology or education or health sciences or in Web of Science Complete, I can then put in another topic. Remember my second concept was child or children? So I put the two together and I ANDed the research concepts together. So I went from too many down to 5,371. Still probably too many. So I went back to my search statement, did my homework, and I put in my third search strategy, and I ordered those concepts, girl or boy or gender or female or male. And I got 2,085 when I combined those 3 sets. Still probably too many. You can still browse through those, but again, a perfect search is not looking at too many, but not looking at too few that you miss things of peripheral interest. You need to find 4. So I went back. So I said topic, and in this particular database, I can look at adjacency. I looked at the word risky within 2 words of the word play. So risky adventures play or risky play or play that's risky. It picked up all those words and topics are keywords and titles, abstracts, and authors' keywords. And I look for words and titles. So I really want to go for the throat. I want to find all those articles that also have the word gender or male or female or boy in the title, or maybe all those or some of those in the title of the article as well. So let's go through and see what we found. We found 98 results. That's better. Now, so that's still too many, too few. Serendipity is still a research methodology where you look through the database and you go, that looks interesting. Oh, I never thought of that. And you mark things. So I filtered on the left-hand side by document type. I looked for articles. I looked for things that are only in English. I only want to read English. And the publication years, I went from, I think, year 2000 to 2023. Older ones may be appropriate, but I want the most current research. Those filters are on the left-hand side, a really neat database feature. On the right side, it says relevance. So you can sort these by relevance, by date, by citation counts, who's using them more. So I searched for them by relevancy. And when I found an article, it looks interesting. I can read the title, look at the name of the journal. I click on, or I mark with a question mark, click on it, add to my mark list. So it saves it, puts it in one space, irrespective of how many searches I do, how many items I mark. Until I leave the database, it tracks and puts those into a parking spot. So I went back and risky play, and I put in those different words, those keywords under topic, and I found how many articles that have risky near within 2 words of the word play. And I found some more articles. I found 52. And whenever I found one, I clicked on it. It actually records which ones I've already marked to put to one side. And on the top right-hand side, rather than sorting by date or by relevancy, I put the ones that were cited highest first to browse through those, and then picked up ones that are interesting. That first article has 115 references at the end of the article, but it's been cited by 219 times, kind of what Google Scholar does. Be interesting, click on that and look through those articles as well. So whenever I finish this search, I click on anything I've highlighted, like in that second entry, and click on Add to Mark List, and it puts them in that parking lot. At any time, you can click on the title and it brings you more information about the article. The title, the journal it's published, the abstract, the keywords, citing, all those sorts of things, and you can add those. You can look at the full text until you actually leave the database. It tracks what you've done. At the end, I found 20 articles on my 3 or 4 different searches I did, and I varied the searches. I clicked on, I said, I want all 20. I want all in RIS format, which is standard. And it says you pick 20. I want to click on the author, title, source, and abstract. And I want to click on export. When it exports these, it puts them into Zotero. I didn't do anything. It just put them there automatically. So now I have about 30 or 40 books, websites, edited articles, handbook articles, but 20 of those articles that are here as well. And that's what I said. I found about 30 or 40, of which 10 or 15 look interesting. I have to find 4 to cite and put into my essay. And at any time in Zotero, just like Zotero Bib, you can create a bibliography entry for it. Sometimes you have to clean it up, but it's all there for you to use. So we've looked at books, databases which are essential, suggested which ones should be appropriate, how to search for articles and put them to one side, either using Zotero Bib or Zotero, but where and how and when to get help. Just before I do that, on the kinesiology tab under Grade Literature, there's a section there's encyclopedias and dictionaries and handbooks there, other sources of information. And if you click on definitions, it brings up other tools like WordHippo and other reference guides to find definitions, encyclopedia type articles. WordHippo is kind of neat. I use that whenever I can't think of words that relate to my search concepts. So I put in movement, and this entry goes on and on and on. I picked up the first page. So movement, action, motion. I never thought of that. It helps to complement and develop a list of terms that may be appropriate or synonyms. So where can you get help? The kinesiology and CHIS research guides. I kind of showed you that. Email the library at any time during the day, Monday through Friday, someone will respond. That Ask Us chat button works really neat. Days and nights. I even used it, and I'm here on Sunday, to ask a question. Someone gets back to you that's live and can help you. It's usually like, I can't find this isn't working, I need something like this. Short, quick questions that someone is responding at the other end as well. And if you want to book a consultation, that's where. If you click on this particular guide, it brings up a list of people in our library, our teaching and learning librarians, and I'm there. If you want to meet with me, it brings up a date and a time. It meshes with my availability. If you click on that time, it'll ask you, so why do you want to meet with me? And you should answer for this course, for this assignment, and in it, you should ask, how can I help you? What do you want to work on together? And also indicate whether you want to meet virtually using Teams, or best of all, I would suggest come in and we'll find a place in the library, usually my office, where we can work together and explore and learn together. So what is one thing you've learned today? That top 10 things I need you to do that would help you not only in this course, but other courses as well. Articles, books, databases, a lot to learn. It's pretty good, but I'm confident that you can help to be successful with this assignment and other sessions. I'm the teaching and learning librarian. That's my email. Email me, but when you email me, I'll put the course name or Brock University, so it comes to my open mail and doesn't go to my junk mail. That's me standing in Philadelphia on top of the Rocky Steps. If you ever go to Philadelphia, as I'm a triathlete, run those Rocky Steps and tell me about it as well. We want you to feel confident, whether it's your laptop, your phone, a mobile device, to do this particular essay, which is a really neat assignment, given the topic, using the databases so you'll be more proficient and literate when you approach this particular topic or any other course at Brock University Library. If you have any questions or comments, or you don't understand anything the professor or TA said, or a colleague said, go and find out this, or you need to develop Zotero Bib, or you want to load Zotero, I can work on you that together. Finding a definition, resources that are in our library, how to borrow from other libraries. Those are skills you'll use in this particular course and other courses that you'll take here. So good luck with this course and assignment. Here to help. Thanks for this particular opportunity.